Well, you're wondering whether it's almost time to go home, huh? Look, with regard to the border discussion, I think it's pretty safe to say that we've made some significant progress, but we obviously aren't there. But that needs to be a part of this overall request from the administration, which remains extremely important. I think this is the most dangerous time since the fall of the Berlin Wall. You have the first land war in Europe since World War II. We still have terrorist threats, not only in Israel, but some of the kinds of people that are getting into the United States. And we want to help Taiwan as well. So no question, this package is extremely important. The most complicated part of it, actually, is the border. I think we haven't passed a significant immigration bill since Reagan's second term. And so this is not easy, but we're working hard to get an outcome because the country needs it, and the country needs it soon.
A chart. And this is why, as the leader pointed out, we need to do a border bill. So if you look at this right here is 2021, and every year the number keeps climbing. Projected for 2024, over 3 million people. This administration, the Biden administration, this is their policy, this is the Biden border crisis. They have lost completely operational control of the southern border. And this number right here represents 2024 full year. But yesterday, it was 12,381 people. 12,381 people, a new one-day record at the southern border. If you annualize that number, you're talking more than 4.5 million people annually. Now, like I said, this is bad enough, but imagine if you continued at the rate that they're at today, which is 10 to 12,000 a day, you're talking about 4.5 million people annually. So this is not optional. This is absolutely essential to the deal that we're talking about. And as the leader pointed out, we've got some important national security responsibilities that need to be dealt with around the world. But first and foremost, it starts with securing our own southern border and the national security crisis we face there. And here's why. In the month of October, it was 240,000 people who were apprehended coming across the border illegally. Of that amount, you had 1,569 criminals, 93 people who actually had warrants out for their arrest, 50 that were gang members, and 12 who were on the terrorist watch list. That's the kind of threat that we face now at our southern border, and the reason why it's so important we deal with this. If you look at what's happening down there right now, you got rail crossings into the United States from Mexico that have been shut down temporarily because Customs and Border Patrol has had to shift their employees over to processing migrants. So you now have an important bilateral trade arrangement or bilateral trade coordination between us and Mexico that no longer exists. And hopefully that's only temporary. But again, it's a symptom of this problem, which is a national security threat. And if we can't trade with our biggest trading partner in the world, a major economic issue as well. So the Biden administration has finally, as of last week, engaged. We've had a proposal out there, I think as most of you know, since the first week in November, and have been trying to get them to engage, and finally last week they did. And as the leader said, I'm hoping that we continue to see progress there, but we cannot do a national security supplemental bill absent dealing with the national security crisis at our southern border. And so that's why it is critical that we bring these talks hopefully to a meaningful conclusion that puts in place real, serious, and meaningful policies that will stem the flow at our southern border.
Leader McConnell, are you comfortable with your party's leading presidential candidate referring to illegal immigrants as people who are poisoning the blood of our country?
Well, it strikes me that didn't bother him when he appointed Elaine Chao Secretary of Transportation.
Leader McConnell. this has been regarded as one of the least productive years in Congress in decades up here. Only 22 pieces of legislation signed into law, but we've had other issues in the House with the Speaker, senators trying to fight witnesses, sex in hearing rooms. Just how disappointed are you in this year legislatively and for the stature of the Congress?
Well, I don't serve in the House, but I don't think the Senate has been nearly as productive as it could have been. For example, we had a lot of floor time here the last couple of months. We could have been processing appropriation bills to get us in a better position to finish funding the government sooner. So, yeah, I'm not very happy with how productive the Senate has been this year, and hopefully it'll get better soon.
Do you think it's really that easy, considering the two big funding deadlines coming up and the border bill on the floor?
Alex?
Leader McConnell, with regards to the appropriations bills for the rest of 2024, do you think the House Republicans should stick to the deal that McCarthy set for the top line for those bills?
Yeah, I don't give the Speaker public advice about how to handle things. A CR is simply unacceptable for a year. It's devastating, particularly for defense, and we've got all of these wars going on. So we need to reach an agreement on the top line and get about getting an outcome as soon as possible.
Leader McConnell, can you assure the Ukrainians who are in the trenches that there's aid coming? Is there help coming?